I remember the day it all started like it was yesterday. The rain was pounding against the windows of our tiny apartment, a relentless rhythm that seemed to match the rapid beating of my heart. My name is Alex, and until that day, I believed my life was perfectly ordinary. I was just another college student, balancing the chaos of exams, part-time work, and the occasional social gathering. My roommate, Sam, was the quiet type, always keeping to themselves. Little did I know, beneath that calm exterior lay a world of secrets waiting to be uncovered. It all began with a simple act of forgetfulness. Sam had left for class early that morning, and in their rush, they forgot to lock their closet. I wouldn't have noticed if it weren't for the glint of something metallic catching my eye. I walked over, curiosity piqued, and gently pulled the door open. What I found inside sent chills down my spine. There, hidden behind a row of neatly hung clothes, was a small arsenal of high-tech gadgets, tiny cameras, sophisticated listening devices, and a collection of passports and IDs with Sam's face, but different names, stared back at me. My breath caught in my throat as I reached for one of the passports, my fingers trembling. Who was my roommate? I sat down on the edge of Sam's bed, my mind racing. Questions flooded my thoughts. Was Sam a criminal? A spy? I had to know the truth, but confronting Sam directly felt too risky. I decided to do some digging on my own. That evening, I acted as if nothing had changed. When Sam returned, I made small talk, masking my anxiety with a casual demeanor. We shared a pizza, discussing mundane topics like classes and the latest campus gossip. All the while, I couldn't shake the image of the hidden stash from my mind. Over the next few days, I observed Sam closely. I noticed the subtle signs I had missed before, the way they always seemed to be on high alert, their habit of scanning the room as if looking for threats, and their reluctance to talk about their past. It all started to make a strange kind of sense. My break came one night when Sam left their laptop unattended. They had always been meticulous about locking their devices, but in their haste, they left it open. I knew I had a narrow window of opportunity. My heart pounded as I sat down and started searching through their files. What I found was a trove of classified documents and encrypted messages. My hands shook as I read through reports detailing covert operations and surveillance activities. Sam wasn't just any spy. They were deeply embedded in a mission involving a dangerous criminal organization. My blood ran cold as I realized the magnitude of the situation. Unable to contain my fear and curiosity any longer, I decided to confront Sam. That night, as we sat in the living room, I blurted out, "I know your secret, Sam." Sam froze, their eyes narrowing as they studied my face. For a moment, I thought they might deny everything, but then they sighed, the tension in their shoulders easing slightly. "I guess you found the closet," they said, their voice tinged with resignation. I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and dread. "Who are you, really?" Sam leaned back, their expression unreadable. "I'm an undercover operative, Alex. My mission is to infiltrate and dismantle a criminal network operating in this city. It's dangerous. And now that you know, you're involved too." The gravity of their words hit me like a ton of bricks. My ordinary life had been shattered, replaced by a world of intrigue and danger. "What do we do now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Sam's gaze softened slightly. "We stick together. I'll keep you safe, but you have to trust me." In that moment, I realized there was no turning back. My life had irrevocably changed, thrusting me into a shadowy realm of secrets and peril. As the rain continued to beat against the window, I knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test my courage and redefine everything I thought I knew about the world and myself. The days that followed were a whirlwind of fear and adrenaline. Sam's revelation had upended my entire world, and suddenly, every shadow seemed a potential threat. I tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy, attending classes and hanging out with friends, but the knowledge of Sam's secret life loomed over me like a dark cloud. The first sign of trouble came one crisp evening as I walked home from the library. The streetlights flickered ominously, and a sense of unease settled in my stomach. I glanced over my shoulder and noticed a black sedan creeping slowly behind me. Panic surged through me, and I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my ears. The car sped up, matching my stride. Without thinking, I darted into a nearby alley, hoping to lose my pursuer in the maze of back streets. Just as I thought I was safe, a hand clamped down on my shoulder. I whirled around to face a burly man with a cold, menacing expression. "You're coming with me!" he growled, yanking me towards the car. I struggled, fear clawing at my throat, but my strength was no match for his. As he dragged me towards the vehicle, a sudden blur of motion caught my eye. Sam appeared out of nowhere, their movements swift and precise. In a matter of seconds, they had incapacitated my assailant, leaving him groaning on the ground. "We need to go now," Sam hissed, grabbing my hand and pulling me away from the scene. We ran through the darkened streets, my mind racing with questions and terror. Sam led me to a hidden safe house, a nondescript apartment that looked abandoned from the outside. Inside, It was a high-tech fortress, complete with surveillance equipment and emergency supplies. As Sam secured the doors and windows, I sank onto the couch, trying to steady my trembling hands. "Who was that?" I asked, my voice shaking. Sam's expression was grim. "One of the criminal organization's enforcers. They've identified you as a potential threat because of your association with me. They think you know too much." I swallowed hard, the weight of Sam's words sinking in. "What do we do now?" Sam's gaze was steely with determination. "We fight back, but we have to be smart about it. This safe house is secure, but it's only temporary. We need to gather more intel and plan our next move." The following days were a blur of strategy sessions and tense stakeouts. Sam taught me basic self-defense and how to handle a gun, skills I never imagined needing. We communicated in code and moved frequently to avoid detection. Despite the constant danger, a strange camaraderie developed between us. I began to see glimpses of the person behind the secret agent facade, someone brave, resourceful, and deeply committed to their mission. One night, while poring over maps and surveillance photos, Sam shared more about their background. They had been recruited straight out of college for their sharp mind and unflinching resolve. The mission we were entangled in had started as a routine infiltration, but had escalated when they uncovered a plot involving high-level corruption and deadly stakes. "We're close to cracking this wide open," Sam said, their eyes reflecting both exhaustion and hope. "But it's going to get worse before it gets better." As if on cue, the safe house's alarm system blared, signaling an imminent threat. Sam's face hardened, and they sprang into action, grabbing weapons and gear. "They're here," Sam muttered, handing me a gun. "Remember what I taught you. Stay close and follow my lead." We moved through the apartment, every nerve on high alert. The sound of footsteps echoed outside, followed by the crash of a door being forced open. Sam and I took cover behind an overturned table, our breaths shallow and hearts racing. The first assailant burst into the room, and chaos erupted. Gunfire, shouts, and the acrid smell of smoke filled the air. I fired blindly, the recoil jarring my arm. Sam was a whirlwind of precision, taking down enemies with calculated efficiency. Despite my fear, I found a strange clarity in the midst of the chaos, focusing on survival. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually, the noise subsided. The attackers were either dead or incapacitated, and Sam quickly checked the perimeter to ensure it was clear. We were battered and bruised but alive. As we sat amidst the wreckage of the safe house, Sam turned to me, their eyes filled with a fierce determination. "We need to end this, Alex. For good." In that moment, I understood the gravity of our situation. We were in too deep to back out now. The only way to reclaim our lives was to face the threat head-on and dismantle the criminal network once and for all. Together, we would fight, and together, we would prevail. With the remnants of the recent attack still evident in the wrecked safe house, Sam and I knew that our time was running out. The criminal organization had escalated their efforts, and we needed to strike decisively before they could regroup. We spent the night planning our final move, poring over every piece of intel we had gathered. It was now or never. The key to our plan was a warehouse on the outskirts of the city, the nerve center for the criminal operations. Sam had identified it as the location where crucial evidence was stored and where high-level meetings took place. The plan was risky, but it was our best shot at bringing the organization down. We set out before dawn, using the cover of darkness to avoid detection. The warehouse loomed ahead, a hulking structure surrounded by fences and patrolled by armed guards. Sam had managed to secure a map of the facility, highlighting weak points and security measures. As we approached, my heart pounded with a mix of fear and adrenaline. We slipped through a gap in the fence and made our way to a side entrance. Sam picked the lock with practiced ease, and we crept inside, staying low and quiet. The interior of the warehouse was a labyrinth of crates and storage units. We moved cautiously, avoiding patrols and security cameras. Our first objective was the control room, where we could access the security systems and disable the alarms. Sam led the way, their movements swift and precise. When we reached the control room, they quickly hacked into the system, fingers flying over the keyboard. The screens flickered, and one by one, the security feeds went dark. "All right, we're in," Sam whispered. "Let's move." We made our way deeper into the warehouse, heading towards the central storage area. According to Sam's intel, this was where the most critical documents and evidence were kept. As we approached, the sound of voices reached our ears. We pressed ourselves against the wall, listening intently. A group of men stood in the center of the storage area, discussing their plans. I recognized one of them from the surveillance photos. He was a high-ranking member of the organization. This was our chance to gather the evidence we needed and disrupt their operations. Sam gestured for me to stay hidden while they moved closer. With cat-like agility, they crept behind a stack of crates, positioning themselves for the perfect shot. I watched in awe as Sam's training kicked in, their movements fluid and deliberate. When the moment was right, Sam struck. In a blur of motion, Sam disarmed the closest guard and took down another with a well-aimed shot. Chaos erupted as the remaining men scrambled to react. I joined the fray, firing at the assailants and covering Sam as they moved to secure the documents. The sounds of gunfire and shouts echoed through the warehouse, but we held our ground. Within minutes, the central storage area was secure. Sam quickly gathered the documents and evidence, stuffing them into a bag. "We've got what we need," they said, their voice steady despite the adrenaline. "Let's get out of here." We made our way back towards the entrance, the bag of evidence clutched tightly in Sam's hands. As we neared the exit, the sound of sirens filled the air. "Reinforcements," Sam muttered. "We need to move fast." We sprinted towards the side entrance, the sirens growing louder. Just as we reached the door, a group of armed men appeared, blocking our path. Sam and I exchanged a glance, knowing we were outnumbered and outgunned, but there was no turning back now. "Cover me," Sam said, their eyes fierce with determination. I nodded, taking up a defensive position as Sam engaged the attackers. The air was thick with tension as we fought our way through, each step bringing us closer to freedom. Despite the odds, we moved with a singular focus, driven by the need to survive and bring the criminals to justice. Finally, we burst through the door and out into the night. The sirens were deafening now, but we didn't stop. We ran until our lungs burned, until the warehouse was a distant silhouette against the rising sun. Only then did we allow ourselves to catch our breath. As we collapsed onto the ground, panting and exhausted, Sam turned to me with a rare smile. "We did it, Alex. We got the evidence. They're finished." In the days that followed, the evidence we had gathered led to a series of high-profile arrests. The criminal organization was dismantled, and its leaders were brought to justice. The media hailed Sam as a hero, their bravery and skill front-page news. But amidst the accolades and celebrations, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought us here. My life had changed in ways I could never have imagined. I had faced danger, confronted my deepest fears, and discovered a strength within myself that I never knew existed. And through it all, I had formed an unbreakable bond with Sam, a bond forged in the crucible of adversity. As I stood on the steps of the courthouse, watching the final chapter of our ordeal come to a close, I knew that my life would never be the same. Sam was moving on to their next mission, a new identity, and a new challenge awaiting them. But the lessons I had learned and the courage I had found would stay with me forever. With a final hug and a promise to stay in touch, Sam and I parted ways. As I watched them disappear into the crowd, I felt a sense of peace and resolve. The journey had been long and arduous, but we had prevailed. And in the end, we had not only brought down a criminal empire, but had also discovered the true meaning of friendship and bravery.